You are now listening to the Perceptive Readers Podcast. This is a James Poeartistry Productions creation.
This is a James Poeartistry. Good morning. Today is Wednesday. Hi, Perceptive Readers. You know something that helped me to smile even more this morning, besides the affirmations or thoughts and prayers to God, thinking about Him, whose personal name is Jehovah, is this. There is a time for everything, you see, a time to laugh, a time to cry, a time to build, and a time to tear down. If you read Ecclesiastes chapter 3, you certainly understand the spirit that God put in His Bible to help us to appreciate that everything doesn't have to be destined that we do something this way or that way, but it just means through the course of our lives, we will most likely experience everything that's stated in there because that's what it just requires in the environment that, we live in, interactions with people, life. So we just go through these different things at different times. Okay. Now, with that being said, let me tell you, and I'm only going to touch on this briefly, that when you're fighting a battle, a spiritual battle at times, and especially if you're actually dealing with censorship, then what you may not realize this, but this is why I'm going to tell you this, what a person may come to realize at times is that, okay, if I'm being censored, then the only persons that really are getting my information during that time period are the ones really working against me. Now, that's not the total case of the matter, because remember, you can have other persons who's investigating, looking into this situation or that situation. But for the most part, or you direct your focus directly at the persons that are censoring you or trying to take away your rights as a civilian or a citizen of a country or nation. The Apostle Paul showed us that it was quite all right, even within God's eyes, to use his conscience in that way of saying, I'm calling upon my citizenship in this way or that way for my case to be heard, because one, I have it, and two, his conscience. And most likely, we have every reason to believe that God still was going to use his fight to be able to speak about the Lord Jesus Christ. You see, to be able to speak about him, he could use his citizenship and what came along with that to do it. Well, this is what I'm talking about here. In this case, I actually saw right off the bat this morning, which again, I had no problem with seeing this at all. It was a famous personality that was actually talking about their view and their faith. And they were very much so emotional. A lot of emotions was tied up into this. Now, I'm not going to tell you what the exact subject matter was because I've talked about it in different ways in the way that I will do it now. But see, this is still the situation. Citizenship. Everybody, now, I talk about being a humanitarian, but all the same, okay, you have countries that have citizenships again. You're a citizen, you got laws, you got your rights and everything that'll do you. And within that, you have everybody who were either born into that land or actually took the test, to be accepted. They passed the test, become a citizen of this land or that land, went through schooling and what have you, because there is just a requirement that what ends up happening is that when these persons become citizens themselves, then on top of already supposed to have the human dignity of being made in God's image of certain treatment, well, on top of that, they get the rights, as a citizen as well. And you can go through the law books, and many of you know what they are. But what I'm really getting at is this. No matter what beliefs or background, all these different persons who have come to, in one case, a country that they call the melting pot, no matter what the heritage and the culture, even belief systems or what have you, you will find still a common vein of human dignity, and I will still say respect, whether, some people in their beliefs, about that, I'm not getting to it, but there's still a human dignity and a basic way all humans are supposed to be treated, aside from their different heritage and belief system. And so when you have that common principle of, I don't want to say humanitarian, but that's involved. There's another word that I'm looking for, where you're guaranteed to treat everybody, humanely. You see what I'm saying? Then guess what? That still applies to everyone. To everyone. Every single person. You see? And then, which we're not getting into, it's one thing if a person break the laws of the land, which really involves, stealing and assault. See, those are the ones that can actually have your rights and stuff like that restricted. You see what I'm saying? But there's a due process in that as well. And that's one of the things that you agree to as a citizen, that you will even abide by and go through the process of reporting. It may involve courts and things of that nature, but that's what you agree to do even as a citizen. See, anything outside of those basic requirements to keep the civilized world civilized, then that's what we do. So that's all I'm going to say. Have a very good morning and take care of yourself.